She is so knowledgeable and really can give us all a great education on how to live a healthy, well lifestyle. And for those of us that are business owners, we all know that those that, if our employees and we and our families are all healthy, we are much happier, we are at work, and we are productive. And so that to me is all part of it. And Monica is going to give us a little tutorial on how to try to live a well and healthy lifestyle. Ladies and gentlemen, Monica Auslander Moreno.
Do I even need a mic? Yeah, okay, fine. My husband would be like, no, you don't. You don't need one. Thank you so much for having me, Brett and Haley, my middle school friend, who is still my friend, unbelievably. So today we're going to talk about what's basically corporate wellness. 9 to 5 nutrition, making your workplace your well place. They should be one and the same. And it is definitely my privilege to be here, and I really enjoyed the previous panel. Thank you so much for including me in that. So, intro slide, you probably can't even read this, it's so tiny. I'm like, how do I put a resume on one slide? And I know I tend to talk fast and I have a lot of information, might have to cut short, so you can email me and I'll send this presentation to you to read on your own time. Essentially, my practice is called Essence Nutrition. I started it in 2015. It's in Nemo now, which if for your southern folks like Krista, we were talking, that's like 73rd and Biscayne. It's completely safe to be there. I walk around by myself at night. It's fine, Mom. And I have 3 other dietitians in my practice. We all came from hospitals or still currently maintain hospital privileges. That was very important to me. But I'm from here. I'm from Miami. I went to UF. Gators, anyone? Yep, that's right. Free college. And then grad school, I got my master's at FIU. Yay, Panthers. And did my internship at UM Hospital and Oliver Pyatt Center, which is an eating disorder center, and Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. I first worked at Jackson for 2 years as an inpatient dietitian, which is where I credit most of my medical knowledge to, and now I am in private practice. I see private clients, pediatrics, adults, but mostly what I do is consulting for schools and corporate wellness programming, as well as not right now because we're off season, but I'm the Marlins dietitian and Ocean Reef Resort and Club, which is going to pick up and get real cracking real soon. Okay, so your workplace should be synonymous with your well place for something I call self-care, which is a very millennial buzzword term, but it really does ring true. You are at work for about 33% of your entire life. That's not waking hours, that's just your entire life. So what you're doing there is very significant. Right now, for these next 42.45 minutes, I want you to just kind of think about an assessment. Don't think about all the things you need to be doing to help you progress. Where am I with food and fitness at work? Am I happy with that? Is there something I could change? Is there something I would want to change? That's what we'll do today. Does it seem like it's not under your control? No, I work in an office where it's super unhealthy and I work too many hours and I'm in my commute too much and it's just not going to work. That is negative thinking. Positive thinking is really what's going to help you. I tell everybody this, from my CEOs to everyone, we all have 24 hours in a day. No one gets 27, no one gets 20. If you make food and fitness and nutrition a priority for yourself, it will happen. Yesterday, I was with a CEO who I said, oh, you're not eating lunch? She's like, no, I ate lunch a couple hours ago at 10 a.m. I've been up since 3 because I had to go for my run, and then I had my meetings, and I'm like, wow, that is dedication, but that's how you make it work. Food is something in life, one of the only things you can control. You can't control your weather. You can't control your crazy wife or your crazy husband. You can control what you choose to eat and how you choose to move. You have the power over food. People say, oh, well, the chocolate calls to me. It does not. It does not take a little loudspeaker in the kitchen and say, Monica, I'm looking for you. Please come to me. You have power over the food. And what we seek to do is to empower you to realize that you are ultimately in control of your entire life, and especially your health, which is your most valuable asset as a worker, as a business owner, as an employee, as a boss. Nutrition is self-care, which is taking care of yourself and prioritizing your needs, kind of like an oxygen mask in an airplane, so you can then care for others and that you can become a skilled and productive worker and human in general. Now, everyone wants to dive right into like, well, just tell me what to eat. And I know, you're like, she will never stop rambling. I can't get to that yet. And number two, as I was just speaking with someone at my table I was eating lunch with, I forgot, he left. Nutrition is extremely individualized and needs to be customized. Humans are not a one-size-fits-all being. There's trillions of cells. There's DNA. I can't tell you exactly what, quote, diet to eat. And in fact, the word diet is not allowed in my practice. Neither is skinny, and we don't have scales either. Because it's all about health. And this is what I call the health butterfly. Everything, in essence, is butterfly-themed because there is a transformation and a change that takes hold. So change is multifaceted. Health is multifaceted. What I call this picture of health is all of these things combined. Nutrition and exercise are definitely huge for health, but so is your spirit, your social health, your stress, your anxiety, your sleep, and these are all things we talk about. People are like, why are you asking me about who I live with? I'm like, I need to know. Your mental health, which is sadly so neglected. We see so many people who were like, your issues are not food related. They are completely something to be dealt with on the thing that is attached to your body, your head. And then something you might not have even ever heard about or thought about, which is this community of trillions of organisms living within you called the microbiome. Bacteria, yeast, fungi, and some other little fun creatures. They are essentially dictating everything from disease to mood. And your microbiome, which is this ecosystem living in all of your slimy orifices, is heavily affected by nutrition, move. I know, it's kind of great. It's a great word. Orifice. I love weird words. I was a linguistics major. What's really cool about being a registered dietitian and RD is that we kind of broach all of these things about health in our work, both with private and corporate clients, because nutrition is an iceberg, the little tip, and everything festering, another great word, below is very important to us. So before we dive into like, lady, tell me what the heck to eat, please remember that nutrition is a science. I have a master's of science, not a master's of ketosis, veganism, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so when someone says, what do you think about this? I have to go to the research because I took biochem, I took orgochem, I took physiology, microbiology, I grew things in labs, I spilled acid on myself. Horrible. Nutrition is a science. It's also an art because we are humans and I have to communicate with humans. But dietitians don't just function about weight loss and weight management. We really don't care. I don't weigh people because I don't care what you weigh. I care how you feel. I care what you're eating. I care how you're moving. And I care about how you feel in your own body, how much energy you have, how skilled and productive you are. Weight loss or gain or normalization is just a side effect of what we work on. So actually, most dietitians find what I do very boring because they're like, private practice. There's people in the ICU with 70% of their body burned. That is real nutrition. I need to know how to feed them through a tube or a vein, which is what I used to do. But I happen to think that wellness is fun. Okay, so how do you know what you need to be eating? It's unique. All of these things are going to contribute to it. Your genetics. So I was speaking with the gentleman before about he had gone to a technology conference and he's like, I heard that you can map your genome now and that certain genes kind of activate how you metabolize certain nutrients. I said, 100%, absolutely. We do that test in our office. The problem is, what are you going to do with that data? And number two, genes turn on and off all during your life. So I can sit here and fiddle with the light switch and that's what's going to either cause it to be light or dark, just like your genetic sequencing. Your age is huge. I am so dreading turning 3-0 in 3 weeks because I know with each passing year, I know, yeah, yeah, it's happening. Shout out to Dr. Green at Skin Associates for the skin health. Because with every passing year, metabolism, which is the baseline sum of all of your biochemical reactions, is going down. My muscle mass is going to decrease. And by 40, I hope they figure out something to do with it because it's going to be a disaster for me. I don't think I'm going to make it that long, honestly. I don't have high hopes. No, I'm kidding. And how active you are and how much lean body mass you have. Your weight is not as relevant. The BMI was never, ever meant to be used as it is today. I'd much more care about your body fat percentage, and we help people run those tests in our clinic rather than how much you weigh. Because all of my Marlins athletes are clinically obese if I just looked at their height and weight, but you could bounce a nickel off of them, they're fine. Some of your medications affect nutrition, your health status in general, and of course that funny little microbiome, all those worms festering within you. Those all determine your nutrient needs. So When we assess a patient in the hospital intake, they do all your vital signs, they make sure you're not going to code and die. They also do a nourishment assessment. And what does it mean to be well nourished, okay? It doesn't mean skinny, it doesn't mean fat. It means a normal weight range, a healthy weight range, but really what it means is, are you getting all of your macronutrients, which are carbs, fats, and proteins? Please don't eliminate all of your carbs. They are important. They are 1/3 of what you need to be eating. Your micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, because you only need those in tiny little amounts, but if you don't get enough vitamin C, your teeth are going to fall out. Attaining enough fluid and fiber, and coffee does count as fluid. Coffee is awesome. I know I'm your best friend now. Maintaining a healthy body fat percentage, and those are just ranges that I have creepily memorized. Maintaining lean body mass and muscle tone, that is the number one thing that we see that's a problem with movement and fitness in our clients, is that they'll do a lot of cardio, or because 80s was like all about aerobics and the treadmill, but no strength training, and that is what dictates your lean body mass and therefore your metabolic rate. How susceptible are you to diseases that are completely preventable by diet? Honestly, if there's one thing I took away from working at Jackson, it's that I don't ever want to be a Jackson patient. Not because of Jackson Hospital. I don't want to be a hospital patient. I don't want to end up in the hospital with a disease that could have been completely prevented by diet. If I'm going to end up in the hospital, God forbid, let it be something silly. A healthy microbiota, a healthy microbiome, and then most of all, feeling energized and moving and feeling grateful and appreciative of your body, and that you have the power and the locus of control to make positive health decisions over time, both for you and your family. The problem with dieting and restricting consciously and in this black or white, yes, good food, bad food thinking, is that it ultimately leads to deprivation and a binge. If you tell someone, you tell your kid you can't have that, they're gonna become obsessed with it. If you told them on Halloween, no candy, they are going to freak the hell out and eat all of the candy, or continue obsessing and annoying you about it all night. So it's a lot better to strike a balance, but balance is uncomfortable. What does balance mean? It's kind of ambiguous. That's the problem. And then we have this diet culture where you should always be on a diet. Everybody needs to be super skinny and thin. Everybody needs to be glamorous. And if you are overweight, you are fat and lazy and disgusting and you have no moral compass. That is so abhorrent to me, and something we really need to get rid of in our culture, and especially with our children. Something that I do in my corporate or my school nutrition consulting is a lot of body kindness training. Through the act of eating, you're investing in your life through food, and that's great, but it doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. So this is what I'd like to call selfish eating. Kind of like self-care is prioritizing yourself, putting your needs, your human and psychological needs first. So how can you become selfish at your workplace without getting fired? By selfish eating, 9 to 5. Nourish yourself and choose foods that contribute both to your health. So like, yeah, I'm going to tell you to eat vegetables. They are important, but you should also eat things that you enjoy. And if any of my clients are in this room, they know that I talk about the concept of the yay meal, okay? Which is, oh, what's your favorite food? Why are you asking me, Monica? You're not going to let me eat it. I certainly am. I'm actually going to tell you should probably eat that once a week and de-novelize it, so the shroud of mystery and excitement around it fades, and then you probably won't even want it once a week. Maybe you'll want it once a month. Maybe you'll want it every 3 months, and that's okay, because if there's 365 days a year, and let's say 30 of those days are horrendous, like statistically, like you're still getting about an A minus. I don't know, I'm really bad at math. Woo. Intuitive eating and mindful eating. These are separate lectures that I give. And it sounds really bonkers, and you're going to think that I'm nuts, but intuitive eating is selecting foods based on when you're hungry versus when you're full, and selecting foods that sound good to you. And you're like, I would be 1,000 pounds if I ate what I wanted to all day. That is not true. If you ate when you were truly hungry and stopped when you were truly full, your weight would normalize, your health would normalize, and your relationship with food would normalize. What's really big for a lot of office workers is mindful eating. Mindfulness, and there should be a mindfulness seminar in all of your corporate wellness programming, is becoming present in the moment and conscious, which means no digital distractions. And that means while eating. When was the last time you ate like not at your desk, or not on Instagram, or not reading the New York Times? Subtle plug. Or not, watching TV, or completely distracted by your kids. When you're eating, it's supposed to be you and the food and the experience. And the way you can kind of tell the difference is, like at the movies, You can polish off this huge thing of popcorn, no problem. But you would never sit in a room by yourself and eat 3 liters of popcorn because you'd be like, oh, it's disgusting. I'm so full. Who would ever do that? Mindless eating. Mindful eating is huge at work. I always tell people, take back your lunch hour. I hope that's okay here. Sometimes when I give lectures at school, I'm like, eat in class. And they're like, they don't let us eat in class. I'm like, oh, damn it. I have to talk to the administration. Planning ahead to make sure that you are satisfying and fueling your body throughout the day and not like, oh my God, it's 12:30, I'm starving. What's the first thing on Uber Eats? Well, yeah, you're going to eat McDonald's. It's always the first thing on Uber Eats. They pay for that slot. So planning and prioritizing this process is going to really help you succeed. Taking time to love your food, we kind of already spoke about this. I am so excited to wake up in the morning because of breakfast. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for that. I got that pear, I got that those figs were on sale, I have all this nut butter or whatever, I'm so excited. For me, eating is not like, oh, I have to stop and eat and like, it's gonna be gross or it's gonna be, no. You should be really excited about your food because you should be excited about the way it makes you feel. And proper nutrition is a form of self-care and basically can dictate how we show up to life and who we are. Because if you're not fueling your vessel, and I tell this to my athletes and my kids, everything, you're nothing without your body. You're nothing without your health. You can't work, you can't function, you can't take care of yourself or others. So nutrition is a science, nutrition is also food. This is how we define food. All of these little categories here, veggies, fruits, grains. Food has nutrients, you can see them listed here. Food has some special nutrients called phytonutrients. Those are unique to plants. They have a lot of chemical benefits I shall not go into. And then food, you should kind of think about, and I was just talking about this with this other guy. We had a great lunch. You all missed it. About how meat and foods and animal products are harvested and farmed in this country versus other countries. And voila, that's all food. And you eat food for nourishment, which we talked about before. So you're reading this list and you're like, yeah, I eat all these things. Like, I'm obviously doing really well. Where would you categorize a Quest bar into the food category? 'Cause I'm looking at it and it doesn't quite meet the requirements as a dairy or a grain or a meat, and that's because it's not food. Mark Hyman, who is like my nutrition guru, just wrote a book called Food, the book, What the Heck Should I Eat? I think you should all read it. It literally explains what I've been explaining for 10 years, but he's the one who's going to make millions. It's cool. I'll just keep listening to his podcast. And it basically says that we eat a lot of frankenfoods. Foods that in the 21st century Western America society are convenient and sexy, but they are not real food. They don't fall into a categorized consternation of what food is. You should also only eat foods that if your great-great-grandmother wouldn't have eaten it because she would be like, what the heck is that? Is that from Mars? Don't eat it. Real food first is something that dietitians talk about a lot. I'm not going to go into this slide for the sake of time, and I don't want to terrify you, but this is what macronutrients are, and this is all the things that they do in your body. And basically, I use it as a point to drive home that you need all of these things in a given day, over a week, over a month, over a year, for optimal body functioning. So if you cut out carbohydrates, you are missing a lot of nutrition. I'm over keto, as you can tell. Micronutrients, this is what they do in the body. There's fat-soluble ones, there's water-soluble ones. I literally took an entire class called vitamins and then a separate class called minerals. Super boring. Let me just tell you, you need a lot of them. You will get a lot of them if you eat a variety of different foods. Food as defined by what worked before. Now, for you cheaters out there with your $100 multivitamins, food works as an army, not soldiers. And synthetic food, as found in vitamins, can be beneficial in cases where supplementation, as a supplement, is required. But healthy people, no need. I rarely prescribe multivitamins. I've never taken one. It's really for special instances. You can get everything you need through food and water. Your body is 73 to 75% water. I hope water is a needed cofactor in virtually every metabolic reaction in your body. You should be sipping all day long. If you try to go from your 1 water bottle a day to 7, though, you're going to pee all day. And it's not my fault that you're going to get fired because you're going to keep getting up from your desk. So do it slowly. And remember that water is actually also found in fruits and vegetables. They're mostly fruits and vegetables are mostly water, like 90%, so you can kind of cheat there. Coffee is fine, tea is fine, milk and your nut milks are fine, sparkling water is fine. What is not alcohol is a fluid that dehydrates you. We're going to talk about alcohol in a bit, especially as your wine reception comes up. That looks really fun. Wish you could stick around. 9 to 5 nutrition, balance, variety, and moderation are the Essence Nutrition keys, major keys to success. So, attaining a balance of nutrients, a variety of nutrients, and moderation of nutrients. Just because something is good for you, it doesn't mean to take a lot of it. That's another American thing we do. Like, oh, I heard vitamin D was good. I'm going to take 35,000 IU a day. Toxic, liver problems. I always tell people, they're like, well, I heard almonds were really great. I heard kale was really great. I heard berries were a superfood. All foods are superfoods. Eat a variety of different fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds throughout the day to access those vitamins and nutrients. That is your multivitamin. You eat your multivitamins. You don't take them. You don't tomar them, okay? I'm learning Spanish from my Colombian husband. It's very exciting. If you eat this way, you will never have to take a vitamin. You will never be deficient in anything if you don't have a gastrointestinal malabsorptive disorder. Asterisk. That was supposed to be funny. I'm really into it, though, okay? Portion mindfulness. So, again, quinoa, superfood, right? We served it. It's so healthy. If, like me, you are a small person prone to weight gain and you are not a Marlins athlete, and you eat 3 cups of quinoa a day, you will gain weight. So portion sizes, even of healthful, nourishing foods, are something to be very cognizant of. And portion sizes, especially in this country, are outrageous because we like value. I get it. If I'm paying $25 for a steak and they gave me a 3-ounce portion, which is what a serving is, which is like your iPhone, like 2/3 of it, I'd be like, Yelp, worst place ever, tiniest portions ever. I will never come back to this place. And that's unfortunate. So you need to really look up the portion sizes, like that are the USDA ones, and measure yourself up against them. Now, some people require more portion sizes. My husband would literally wither away if he had 3 ounces of protein at his meals. But most of us can make do with a lot less than we are accustomed to. Another principle of the BVM modality is moderate occasional indulgence as insurance to prevent losing your mind. So at Thanksgiving, for example, that is coming up rapidly around the corner, if you starve all day and you roll up to Abuela's house at 4 p.m., you're eating all the croquetas as the appetizer. 1,000%. 1,000%. If you, however, my Thanksgiving's at 4. I don't know if that's like an American Jewish thing. Like, who eats at 4? But, all right, so I'm going to have breakfast at like 8, 8:30. I'm up early, got a dog. I'm gonna have lunch. I'm gonna have lunch, like a salad and protein, because guess what? By 4 o'clock, I'm gonna be hungry. And then I'm gonna have the same thing I usually eat, which is a lot of vegetables, some protein, some turkey, some fat, some Brussels sprouts, some green bean almondine. And then instead of being like, stuffing is inflammatory and super bad for you, and if I eat stuffing, I will die, I'm gonna be like, you know what? Stuffing is one of my most favorite foods. It's not, I'm just using this as an example. And I'm gonna have a portion of stuffing. I'm more into the desserts. So what I will do is, obviously there's a whole table of desserts. Mom, why? And why do I need like 13 desserts? And I'm gonna pick my 2 favorites, which is the pecan pie, and I don't know if there's gonna be an apple or a pumpkin, something else. We'll wild card it. And I'm gonna have a little slice of both. And I'm gonna have some fruit. And I'm gonna have a cup of tea. And then I'm gonna make my whole lazy family go on a mile walk around our neighborhood with all 7 dogs, because that is gonna prevent the food coma and the food hangover. If you know, like, all right, if you're trying to lose weight, if weight management is an issue for you, which for a lot of people it is, and you had 2 cups of oatmeal at breakfast and 3 cups of quinoa at lunch, okay, maybe we should scale back at dinner a little bit with the starch, right? And in the same scope for something like vegetables, which you actually need 7 to 10 servings of per day, if you're like, I had like a little measly tomato on my caprese salad at lunch, I need to really bulk up the veggie intake at dinner, I'm not gonna meet my needs. I'm not going to take you through my day of eating. It's really not very exciting, but if you Instagram message me or email me, I'll tell you. It's weird. It seems daunting and it seems weird and it seems like really tedious, but all it is habit retraining. It's 3 weeks of doing this, and then it becomes so autopilot you won't even recognize your prior life. 9 to 5 nutrition supplements. Another thing I was discussing with my mysterious friend who I don't remember. I think his name was Steven? Steve? I gotta get in touch with Steve. So supplements. Pros, right? Some people require supplements. If you are vegan, if you are a child or an adult with a malabsorptive disorder, if you are pregnant, there are special pops, basically. That's what we call them. There's gen pop, general population, like in prison, and then there's special pops, and they need supplements. we are super conservative with supplements. You will go to some dietitians and doctors, and they will give you a box of $800 supplements, and that is going straight to their pockets. Very exciting for them, but for us, we really feel that you can get everything you need through food. And the problem with the supplement industry in the US, I don't know if anyone works with the FDA here in healthcare law, is that poor FDA is a little understaffed, and a little under-resourced, and they cannot police every supplement. So I'm gonna go in my garage and make a supplement called Vitamin D-licious, and it's gonna be salt and sawdust until somebody tells me, I independently tested this in a lab and it's not. Oh, well, guess what? I got 3 years and $3 billion worth of sales and y'all didn't even notice. I'll close up my shop now. So supplement treachery is very common today, and you will never know the purity, toxicity, or the potential for supplements to interact with each other, what you eat, or your prescription or even non-prescription medications until it might be too late. Oh, and they can mess with your blood, your lab values too when you go to get a physical. So there's a lot of risks of supplements, and we're very, very cognizant of that. And again, nutrients are really just better obtained through real food. However, I will say in our practice, most people get a probiotic because of that microbiome. Nobody is nourishing it as effectively as they can because you guys probably think it's weird to eat kimchi every single day or sauerkraut every single day. And these are foods called fermented foods that have probiotics in them that can recolonize your gut with beneficial bacteria. So sometimes you recommend a supplement and it's like $16. It's not like $1 million to maybe hedge your bet a little. Okay, so now we can get into what to eat. 9 to 5 theme. Before 9, I mean, you can eat breakfast at work, it's fine, but like I'd probably rather you do it at home so you're like rested and relaxed. Not on US 1 like I do, that's very bad. Don't do what I do. Is the break feast. So I call it the break feast because number 1, I'm really excited by breakfast. And number 2, you really should be leaving about 12 hours between dinner the prior night and breakfast the next day. Because your body needs time to recuperate and kind of clean out metabolically. What's called autophagy cells need to kind of get rid of the malfunctioning, yucky ones. Just like this building, they need us to get the heck out at 5 p.m. so they can clean. Or else they can't clean around us. We're sitting here making a mess, making a disaster. So try to leave that 12-hour window. And that, if you've heard of intermittent fasting, is kind of the concept of that, although that just takes it far too extreme. Because Americans. Raise your hand. Who here actually preps their breakfast the night before? Front row, A+. Girl in the cute orange salmon jacket, A+. Okay, so that means, and you probably do this and have been doing it for a while. Why do you do that? Michael Krawitz.
Because I just get the berries ready and I eat breakfast at work.
Okay.
So I take it with me.
But isn't it just easier for you since you've already thought about it and you don't have to, like, is that why you do it? I'm feeding you the answer.
Yes.
The answer is yes. Okay. So, thank you, Michael Krawitz. So people who prep and pack, they take away that food anxiety of like, what am I gonna eat for breakfast? Oh my God, croqueta. No, it's like, okay, the night before, I've already thought about this. I already know what I'm eating. It's something that I like eating, and yeah, it's done, okay? So, but how to prepare an ideal breakfast? You want to first drink at least a glass of water. I drink like 3, because all night you've been sleeping and you've been sweating. I'm sorry to tell you that. And you've been breathing. Also sorry to tell you that. And you are expiring water. So you are a little dehydrated. Plus, we also mistake thirst for hunger a lot. So this can help you not overeat at meals. Now, my sister and my mom run to the Nespresso machine. I will like vomit if I have coffee before eating. But if you need to caffeinate, which is a whole other lecture, do not adulterate your beverage with the pumpkin spice hazelnut frog's leg creamer. That's not refrigerated. That's something that my Eastern European grandmother would be like, "What is this?" Because she put milk in her coffee, like a normal person. If you are intolerant to milk, and I completely validate that you could be lactose intolerant or dairy intolerant or for an autoimmune reason, you are welcome to use an almond milk or a cashew milk or a hemp milk. If you read the label and there's any added sugar in there, we got a problem. If there's soy lecithin in there, that doesn't naturally occur in almonds, so it probably shouldn't be in there. So you become a psycho like me and you start making your own almond milk with your $500 machine, but you save money on the long term. That's why I said to my husband, he was like, what is this 14 million foot high machine? I'm like, it's my nut milk machine. Good day. So then you want to choose, poor guy. You want to choose a protein because if you just have the classic Auslander family breakfast of corn bran, mom, that's carbs, and you'll be hungry again in 45 minutes because blood sugar goes up, blood sugar goes down, hunger goes up, hunger goes down. So protein and fat and fiber stabilize you, okay? Like a mood stabilizer. I want to bring you down a little bit. So what is protein? Yeah, eggs, yogurt, milk, nuts, seeds. That's not to say that you shouldn't have carbs at breakfast. Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. It's an individual thing that I gotta tease out of you. But it should not be the star of the meal, okay? The breakfast meal is an ideal spot to have fruits and vegetables at your meal because you need 7 to 10 servings of veggies and about 2, maybe 3, maybe less servings of fruit. So it kind of seems like an ideal place to throw in a peach or some berries or maybe all of them because you're going to eat a different fruit every single day to satisfy the variety requirement, right? And you're going to buy frozen fruit because it's way cheaper. You're going to buy it at Costco because it's amazing and fun. And you will also end up buying a coffin for no reason at Costco. You can sneak vegetables into breakfast, and I highly recommend sneaking vegetables into children and husbands' breakfast alike, because grated zucchini and cauliflower and kale do not taste like anything in smoothies, oats, pumpkin, muffin, pancakes, waffles, etc. So be as sneaky as possible. That is another Essence Nutrition spy tip for you. Spices are plants. Use as many spices as you'd like. Cinnamon can lower blood sugar. Garlic fights microbial invasion. Every single spice is a medicine. It's what we used before we had medicine. So sprinkle cinnamon in your coffee. Sprinkle cinnamon on your oatmeal. Sprinkle turmeric and black pepper on your eggs. But you should be Tinkerbell with the spices. Fermented foods, we kind of talked about those as much as possible. You want to incorporate things like yogurt, kefir, which is fermented yogurt, and other weird pickle things that are weird to us because it's not our culture. Asian cultures wouldn't consider eating a meal without something pickled. I went to Japan on my honeymoon, and it was like there's like fish and pickled things in the morning, and you're like, this is so weird, but they don't eat cheese. They think that cheese is gross. I think cheese is delicious. Portion control, if you need that. So like, yeah, if I had 3 cups of oatmeal, which is what I would get if I went out to breakfast at Roasters and Toasters for $12, that is 6 servings of oatmeal that I do not need. So be mindful of portion control. And then, of course, we already talked about protein to keep you balanced until lunch. Reclaim your lunch hour. Take back the lunch hour, or 30 minutes. I'm not really sure what's in your contract. 30 minutes before you eat, you should have a glass or 2 of water. And then you want to build what I call a garden. You are a farmer building a beautiful garden. And in your garden are plants, vegetables, 1 to 2 servings. Half of your plate should be vegetables. I was looking around and I saw some unsatisfactory vegetable portions because, as you know, you need 7 to 10 servings a day. And if you don't get it at lunch, then dinner, you're going to be feeling real fibrous, real bloaty. Good times. Soil for your garden, that to me is kind of like the fat source. If you eat salad without dressing, number 1, that tastes disgusting. And number 2, you're not going to absorb any of the fat-soluble vitamins. So you need to have a little bit of dressing on that salad. Now, should your dressing be from a bottle with xanthan gum and soy lecithin and weird alien frankenfood things? No. It should be, this is where I love working with Latin clients. They're like, well, salad dressing is just lemon and olive oil and salt. I'm like, yeah, damn right it is. You are so right. It is not the Green Goddess organic raspberry vinaigrette because that will have added sugar in it. You want to protect your garden with a little animal patrolling the perimeter, the protein, or if you're plant-based, something like tofu or tempeh. Me and Steve, my best friend, were discussing those portion sizes of steak at restaurants and chicken and how they are just enormous. All right, so box it up and take half home. That is making yourself even more economically smart. You want to build a little fence around the garden, and that would be the carb, the complex, healthy starch, if you're not trying to lose weight. Now, the problem is that we've been educated and brought up that the starch should be the bed, the star of the meal. Chicken Kitchen is rice, and a little bit of chicken and like some anemic-looking tomatoes. Same with Pollo Tropical, same with Subway. It's all bread, rice, pasta. That is what's cheap, okay? The vegetables are expensive. That's why they're selling it to you. So flip that on its head and build your meal around the vegetables. And of course, you want to water your garden. You want to drink enough water with your meal. You want to have a little vinegar on your salad. That's fine. Spices, a fresh lemon squeeze, citrus, and then snacks in between lunch and dinner to put the fun in functional as we move into our 9 to 5 snacking. I don't know what it is with men, but they don't eat snacks. They're like snakes. They eat these huge meals, like a big ball, and it like slowly travels down their body, and then 8 hours later, they like eat again. You're laughing because it's true. It's weird. Whereas women, if I don't eat every 3 hours on the dot, I am an infant, and I am screaming on an airplane. You should really travel with me. I have like 13 snacks. So make snacks real again. A bar, a granola bar, a packet of granola, a protein powder is not food. Now, I will validate that in times of emergency, stuck on 95, stuck on US 1. Oh, we have to change the wheel on your plane. This was me this weekend in New York. So you're gonna sit here on the tarmac for 2 hours. You need to eat a bar, okay? You need to eat something that is not perishable, because you can't travel through TSA with yogurt. It's a really big issue that I'm having. These are some of my favorite snack ideas. I do apples, and I'm gonna pretend that's actually what I put on it, which is tahini. Not that peanut butter is bad, but like, hello, more nutrients, different nutrients. Cantaloupe with cottage cheese, the New York deli Jewish staple of life. Hummus with broccoli and cauliflower, grapes and cheese, deviled eggs, lots of yogurt and kefir because of those fermented goodness, and then papaya with a little bit of honey, and I actually usually put on some like sunflower seeds and cacao nibs because you'll learn to eat like Monica. Trust me, just follow me on Instagram. Just remember that when you're eating a snack, you're putting the fun in functional. So a potato chips, for example, which is a very classic American snack, will give you energy because there's carbs in there, but you will be hungry 45 minutes later. It was not a functional snack. It was only fun. So for me, papaya is fun and functional. After 5, aka the 5 o'clock wine hour that is happening in approximately 3 hours. So exciting. Except that alcohol is toxic. No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. It actually is a toxin. If you didn't break it down, you would die in like 3 minutes because it's just purely formaldehyde in your liver. However, alcohol can be consumed mindfully, just like food, with a presence of mind, with a plan, and with a budget. So we see a lot of clients. I'm not even gonna say where, especially, that drinking is a very large part of the culture. And I went to UF, so like nothing scares me, but I've seen weekly tallies of drinks as high as in the 40s because you could have 5, 6, 7 a night. Easy. Again, go Gators. So the problem is, if you're eating like this, like, amazing with your papaya and your overnight oats, and then you have 5 glasses of wine at night, that will derail all of your efforts and will probably result in a health issue or a weight issue. So what can you do? How can you drink mindfully and still be a fun person and still be a lawyer? Because, you have to drink if you're a lawyer. So my dad's a lawyer. That's how I learned. He'll be at True Lux at 5 o'clock today. Literally, that was actually his office before they kicked him out. So now he's on the 4th floor. Double fist with water in between your drinks and with your drinks because alcohol is super dehydrating. And then if you roll up to happy hour and you didn't have your 4 o'clock snack, you're going to eat, first of all the fried calamari that they're serving, you're gonna get way drunker, and your blood sugar is gonna be way more bombastic and erratic. So have protein and fiber, a functional snack beforehand. Make a budget. This is especially hard for the holidays because you can have 4 social events a week, and that's gonna be 16 drinks easily. So if you go beforehand and you're like, it's a 2-drink night, it's a 1-drink night, it's a Cuban wedding, it's a 7-drink night. At least you knew beforehand and you made a plan and a budget and you committed to that mentally. Now, what are the, quote, best drinks? There's no such thing as a healthy cocktail, but any spirit, so vodka, gin, tequila, even rum, it has a little bit of sugar, no big deal. Just don't put any juice in it. Either take it straight like a real person, like a gator. I didn't know that actually there were mixed drinks. I thought you could only take shots freshman year, and then I'm like, wait, you can put some in your alcohol? This is awesome. But I like whiskey neat because it's delicious. But add seltzer or club soda. If you need flavor, you add a lemon, you add a lime, you add some rosemary, some mint. If you need a splash of ginger beer, fine. I'm not gonna come hunt you down at the bar. But it's also the power of math. So if you have 7 vodka sodas, you have overdone it on the caloric burden. I'm not going to tell you not to have 2 glasses of wine or champagne, but remember, that's, and I really don't like to talk about calories except for with wine. That's 280 calories. That's like an entire spin class. Oh, so not worth it. There are other ways to have fun, if you know what I mean. Lose the mixers, the liquors, the juice tonic, the ginger ales, the fancy $12 cocktails. You are there for the booze. Efficient drinking is literally just the alcohol. And budget it into your entire week. Otherwise, where does the time go? You will not remember. The power of planning your 9 to 5 nutrition. So you should never, ever have a day or an event where you don't know exactly what you're going to be eating. Not exactly, but a general idea of what you're going to be eating. So like today, Steve thought I was the weirdest human ever because I honestly had forgotten if Haley told me that they were serving lunch. So I came with my little watermelon lunchbox and my lunch packed in it. And he's like, what are you eating? I'm like, oh, just the lunch that I packed at this lunch event. Because I didn't know otherwise what would happen is I'd get in my car at 2 o'clock and I'd go to Wendy's, or probably not Wendy's, but like I would make an impulsive choice and I would eat whatever's in front of me. So Planning and having a plan in advance will force you to make a conscious and nourishing choice. Same about, oh, I'm glad you heard me outside. Same with grocery shopping. I mean, have you ever gone grocery shopping hungry? You're like, oh, I bought Twizzlers. Why? Because you were hungry and you were impulsive. First of all, eat before you go to the grocery store, but secondly, have a list. We actually do like a meal organizer grocery list for you. 12 p.m. is not the time to think about lunch. The time to think about lunch is like 10:30, 11 when the Uber Eats places are opening. So you're like, all right, I'm setting this on auto order. I'm filing it in my auto save so I know exactly what to eat for lunch, and I know I'm ordering my salad, my vegetables, and my protein. I'm not making an impulsive, rushed decision based on what's going to be here in 25 minutes or less. We've all been there. If you apply all of the business strategy that you are so brilliant with by now, if you're sitting in this room, to your eating life, you will never have a problem with planning and organizing, and you probably will eat a lot better. All right, so for example, we basically make this mandatory for people. These are, you can't really see, but these are some of the literature we give to clients where we literally are being like, hey, what are you eating this week? What are you shopping for? What are you eating for breakfast? And a little chart goal, and we actually do give out stickers because we love stickers and adults are just oversized children. But we really want to make this go home for you. And if there's one difference between the clients who are successful with transforming their eating habits and their fitness habits, it's purely organization, prioritizing, and planning. We talked a little bit about mindful eating in the beginning. Don't do what this guy is doing, which is what I used to do all of the time. When you start mindfully eating without distractions, you will experience things about the food that you've never noticed before. You will know when things are fresh, when things are ripe, when things are not ripe, and you will actually start thinking about who farmed this? Who made this? What company did this belong to? And you really start connecting with your food as a human being, which is very uniquely human, because let me tell you, dogs and cats, I know my Cavalier King Charles Spaniel will eat whatever's in front of her. She's not connecting to it, and she's not being mindful. So it's kind of cool to be a human. And you'll start to recognize your physical cues of when you're actually full. It doesn't mean everything on your plate, because that's what you've been trained to do, and when you're actually hungry. I actually went to a restaurant the other day and I took a bite of the salad. I'm like, these are local tomatoes. And the woman was like, the server was like, how'd you know? I'm like, I can tell. Because mindful eating. And I know that's weird. Fitting fitness in, like I said, we all have 24 hours in a day. Exercise is not negotiable because it's movement and humans are designed to be in motion. Sitting is the new smoking, so stand the heck up, everyone. Right now, Michael, A+. The thing about exercise is don't think about it as exercise. Then you're a hamster. I want you to think about a movement that you enjoy, that doesn't seem like a chore to you. And maybe that's walking. Maybe it's tennis. Maybe it's swimming. Maybe it's Zumba. My husband works for Zumba, so subtle Zumba plug. Maybe for me, it's Pilates and bar, and there's this really weird little aquarobic class that I do, and it's not 80-year-old women, and it's super fun, and I get to wear a cute bathing suit and take cute Instagrams. Whatever it is, you have to do what you like to do, because the best exercise is the one that you're going to do consistently. At the bare minimum, you can do something called NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is taking the stairs to the 10th floor here. Actually, I'm going to try to, I have flats. I'm going to try to take that down to the 3rd floor when I leave. If you find me, just give me a little water if I'm like lying dead there. It is like literally parking far away. It is getting up to talk to someone and not making a phone call. It is not being completely reliant on elevators and trains. It is taking the stairs whenever possible. I get 1,500 steps sometimes in Miami, which is why you really need to pump it up outside of the office. I'm going to skip this slide, but it's very important. You need to rest, and you need to slow down, and you need to know when you've had enough and when, things are getting a little too out of control for you, because if you don't, that will manifest into your food choices, especially with sleep. Oh, that was it. Yay. I thought I had like 15 more slides. Perfect. 10 seconds to go. Any questions? If you would like to stay in touch, email me. Follow me on Instagram, but don't actually follow me in real life. That's my dog. Love her. That's my website. There's blogs and all sorts of fun things. Thank you for having me, and I hope you have a really fun snack today.
Anybody have any questions? We can take 2 questions, only 2, and they have to be good ones.
Yes.
Hang on, wait. Let me
Oh, never mind. JK. Okay.
What are your thoughts on kombucha?
Okay, I actually asked the Joy Wallace folk. I was like, where's the kombucha bar? I like kombucha because it's a fermented product. It has a lot of different strains of mostly yeasts that colonize your gut. However, number 1, it has a little bit of alcohol, so if you're taking antibiotics or you're a child, you shouldn't eat it. And number 2, a lot of brands add a lot of sugar in there. And you have to look at the serving because the serving size on the bottles is usually for half. So try to choose a brand that's less than 2 grams of sugar per serving. And if you like it, it's good. It's an acquired taste. Second question?
Second question. We can take one
I
more.
think there was one more. No, they got scared. All right.
Are you sure? All right.
It's
Monica,
real.
thank you. It's been great. You were fantastic. Come on, you can give bigger applause than that. Get out of your food coma.
Stand up!
Thank you so much.